is derived from the leaves of the coca plant. When cocaine enters the body, it has a strong effect on body functions by acting as an irritant on the brain. Large overdose of cocaine causes convulsions, then death. Cocaine causes unusual and often unpredictable feelings and actions. In his ignorance, Marty took that dare, little knowing the eventual horror that lay in the deadly white powder.
Marty, have you seen the painting shears I bought last week? Can't seem to find them anywhere. Marty, you don't seem right. I'm worried about you. There's something wrong. I'm going to take you down to Dr. Rupert this afternoon for a checkup.
No, I'm all right.
As his body gradually built up a tolerance, he needed more and more of the drug.
Okay, live. We're live. Let me get rid of the banner. I tend to doing that first thing. It's not countdown, it's live. Okay, so turn off the music. Lovely. Welcome. This is Birch Sky here. K.I.S.S Recovery 101. It is a special monthly edition. One of my favorites. There's two of them. And risky relationships, especially in the world of recovery. They're all pretty risky. But this week, or this month, was my pick. And for my own selfish reasons, I picked that risky relationship with myself, especially new in recovery. Yes, I have a lot to talk about and discuss on that because even where it sits today, I have to be aware and where I go into self-reflection and self-discovery. I definitely need support. So, on that note, I have a reliable, consistent co-host with this edition of the K.I.S.S Recovery. So, risky relationships, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, Sarah here. Glad to be here. And I feel like it's been a while, but then I was just thinking the last time we did this was in the house, and it was kind of a shit show. And so it's glad to be back in studio here and not distracted by dogs barking and people flashing their flashlights in the window.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and the tech difficulties was awful. Oh, yes, it's so much more calm here in the meditation room. Okay, studio, aka studio. So, if you didn't get a chance to read the post, or if you're new listening, it's live for a reason. I want you to interact. Questions, your opinions, viewpoints, insights, anything that you think of, I want you to interact. It's wonderful. We only have an hour. So, Facebook user said, very well said. Ooh, which part? Thank you. And yes, through the whole show, please feel free to comment. I even have alarms set throughout the show to remind us to break into. We have pro tips, and that's just 3 simple tips that I found useful for myself. So whatever we discuss, it's something you can literally start doing today that can help through the process. And then, of course, I just love to end every single show with the live Facebook memes. And Sarah, just for your benefit, I know you're exhausted. I know we've had a long weekend. I made sure, I kept it down to like 7 or 8.
Beautiful.
Yes. And they're short and sweet ones, and a couple of them I guarantee are from you. So, it should go over well. Go ahead. You have something to say?
Yes, no, I'm glad you did keep them short. Yes, I am pooped out this weekend. I don't know why. You know, we talked this morning. last night was my last night with my daughter, and I've had her for about a week and a half, and even she couldn't sleep. Neither one of us. No matter what. We came home late because we went out, and she woke up as soon as I got home, and then she was wide awake. She was chit-chatting, and then all of a sudden she wasn't feeling good, I think because she was tired. But yeah, before I know it was like 5 a.m. and then the dog's waking me up at like 6 when I finally do fall asleep. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes. Okay. And so I'm going to read the post too. That's just to keep us present.
Yes.
So, self-esteem is a person's feelings of personal value and self-worth. It affects many relationships in life, especially with ourselves in recovery. Addiction can make it hard to feel anything positive about yourself and your abilities. Focusing on past mistakes or future obligations too soon can easily lead to reuse. Self-esteem is an important part of the recovery process, and finding ways to build the belief in yourself will allow a healthy relationship within. So for me, for sure, a lot of things that I struggled with, especially in treatments, is, they want you to process. They want you to start processing my feelings and all the, where I had been and, the past. And I was not in a good place. And it was making, I felt like it was making me go even lower than I already was. And the point was I had no value in myself. I had no self-worth, no confidence. And, I feel like there was a couple good counselors that I feel like were able to allow me to have space to process on my own terms. They were wanting me to do really painful stuff. And let me tell you, I'm thankful for one or two counselors that were like, well, okay, how about we do it this way? Instead of this, write your letter to yourself. It was a very awful letter I wrote to myself. And then they wanted me to read it. I'm like, I'm not going to read it. I already just wrote this letter. Now you want me to read it out loud? I mean, are you serious? So I feel like, yes, it's important to self-reflect, but I feel like there has to be compassion with that.
Yes.
Especially for ourselves. And then there has to be, understanding. So thinking about a relationship with yourself right now, Sarah, where you're at right now, present moment, and where you were at, especially new in recovery, what would you say are like clear differences that stand out to you?
For me, definitely prior to this, I was lonely, if that's the better word to use. So when I was using, I would, sit on the phone and talk with people for hours, and I could chit chat and do all these other things. And I never wanted to really be by myself. But it wasn't until I was put into treatment where you are only allowed to focus on yourself. I mean, you can distract yourself with, what's going on. They have day programs and you meet people and it's kind of whatever. But I get it. The whole concept is for you to actually take space away from all of the things that are pulling at you to realize, to have that moment to be like, okay, I got to work on this relationship myself. And so I am actually happy to say that I'm very content where I am now. Like in fact, to be honest, probably enjoyed my alone time a little too much. I'm I love to unwind, come home, relax. And it's nice because I always make an effort to check in with you. Not that I owe you anything or we have this like standard at the house, but I always want to just check in with you daily just to let you know where I'm at, see where you're at. And then afterwards I feel lighter, and then I feel free to just go and be by myself. And I love that because I can do that now. Before I would have to fill my time with something or reach out to somebody, and I just couldn't do it. I could not be alone.
Ooh, that's a really good point. I couldn't stand to be with myself in my head,
Yeah.
And so for me, I forced myself to get out of my head. That's all I knew was my thoughts. And so I'd never done anything like that. I think that's why I had so much anxiety and social anxiety. And so when I finally, forced myself to make changes, I was way out of my comfort zone. And immediately, as soon as my head started doing the thinking, I'm like, whoop, get up and go do something. I had to. I would get up and I couldn't either be alone, or if I was alone, I had to distract myself with something. Because once I started going into the bad place in my brain, I love that saying, somebody just said it again, your mind is like a bad neighborhood, never go there alone.
Yes.
Oh, that was true for me. And so, but that was what my brain's process was used to. So quick for me to do that. So it was not easy for me to do. And I just remember key moments when I'd be like, I could, I'm thinking about what I'm thinking, and it was, not what I wanted to be thinking, but at that time I had no idea how to control my thoughts. And so I'd literally, I'm going outside. Oh, I'm going downstairs to do the laundry. It was like, I really look like a crazy person. Actually, I remember my ex was concerned for me. I mean, he didn't understand that. I don't think he had known me like completely off everything. And like, he's like, why don't you just sit down? Like, he said, something's wrong with you. Ugh. Anyway. And of course, then in my head, I'm like, oh man, wait, something is really wrong with me. What's wrong with me, But luckily at that time I had a therapist, but yeah, when he said, what's wrong with you? That shut me down. So I'm not going to sit here and explain to you what I'm trying to do. But really, it was just me keeping out of my head. Okay, enough rambling. So I think it really correlates with self-esteem. And so I pulled this interesting website, and I'll definitely post the links, but it says, what is self-esteem? So self-esteem is the opinion that we have of ourselves. When we have healthy self-esteem, we tend to feel positive about ourselves and about life in general. It makes us better able to deal with life's ups and downs. But when our self-esteem is low, we tend to see ourselves and our life in a more negative and critical light. We also feel less able to take on the challenges that life throws at us. So what causes low self-esteem? Well, often it begins in childhood. Teachers, friends, siblings, parents, even media send us positive and negative messages about ourselves. And for some reason, the message that you are not good enough is the one that stays with you. Perhaps you found it difficult to live up to other people's expectations of you or to your own expectations. Stress and difficult life events, such as a serious illness or a bereavement, can have a negative effect on self-esteem. Personality can also play a part. Some people are just more prone to negative thinking, while others set impossibly high standards for themselves. So if you have low self-esteem or confidence, you may hide yourself away from social situations, stop trying new things, and avoid things you find challenging. In the short term, avoiding challenging and difficult situations makes you feel safe, but in the longer term, this can backfire because it reinforces your underlying doubts and fears. It teaches you the unhelpful rule that the only way to cope is by avoiding things. So living with low self-esteem can harm your mental health and lead to other problems such as depression and anxiety. You may also develop unhelpful habits. Let's talk about those habits. So I definitely had all these issues before I even started with substance use. And that was definitely what kicked everything off. And I remember, here's the funny part, in the beginning, alcohol made me feel more social, made me feel more good enough and acceptable. Yes. But it turned on me very quickly into the complete opposite, where I didn't need anybody else, I didn't want to feel anything. And I definitely isolated and got real comfortable isolating. So, moving on. They have some suggestions that can help with, boosting your self-esteem. But really, I think it's important to sit down. It was important for me to sit down with myself and figure out who the fuck I was, who I am.
Yes.
Okay? So when we get to the pro tips, I'm going to share, even today, it's important. I had to reassess what my values are, my personal values.
Yes.
Because I'd had them, but I've made a huge, complete change in the last 3 years of my life, and they have changed, Like I knew them in my head, but seriously writing them down and processing and talking to them about them has made me feel more empowered and confident in myself. Now I know where I align today, where I sit today. And that makes me feel more reassured and safe with where I say, making that next right decision, doing what's right. Now I feel like makes sense to me.
Yes, absolutely. And that core value idea, it's so funny that I could sit down right now and I could be like, okay, these are my top 3 core values that I need to live by. And they're usually fairly consistent. They might waver in a specific direction. Like right now it'd probably be honesty, loyalty, and in the past it might have been, to be blunt, where, in my mind back then, that was my way of being honest, is just calling things out. Where now I try to be more cautious of what I say and how it comes out so that I don't offend somebody or hurt somebody's feelings. Because also being sober, holy cow, I am so much more hyper aware of other people's feelings and how they react to me. So I notice my values usually tend to be about the same, but how I approach them or how I look at them has changed a little bit with my sobriety and with whatever I'm going through at the time. But definitely when I stop focusing on those, I all of a sudden will be like, kind of, that restless, irritable discontent. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's real because I realize I'm not living in alignment with it. So whatever I'm practicing, my actions, they're not meeting my standards. I might be lying to my daughter about something because I want to keep her safe, but then that's against my core value. So now I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm feeling discontent and irritable because maybe she keeps asking me because she doesn't want to know, or she wants to know more about something. And I've learned there's a way that I can tell her truths about things without it being too much or whatever. And it still keeps me in alignment. But if I try to doctor it some way and I go against myself, nope, then that's where it all falls apart.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing is, like, it's saved me so much time on my self-reflection, because a lot of times when I feel anxiety or I feel angry, in the moment, I'll step back, but it can take me days to really process myself and really figure out why I got to that point. Especially since I've done so much work on myself and been healing so much. Like, how could this one thing trigger so much emotion or defiance in me? And so, yeah, having the values. Now I'm like, okay, at least I can name it. Okay, I know why this is making me upset. I know I'm upset. It's against my values. But now I'm sitting down and I have to really look at my inner child. And then what's coming into play? Am I allowing my inner adult to come into play? That's a new theme that my therapist had me on. It's been fantastic. Okay, so here's one way that really made things start to change in my brain, start that new neuroplasticity?
Yes.
That new groove in my brain.
Yep.
Start to, I think, get more permanent, was A, how I talk to myself. And B, just being aware of how I'm talking to myself. I don't even catch it. And so, but giving those feelings a positive light, a positive name. So this clip I want to play is from The Minimalist. This is interesting. I know nothing that you would think nothing to do with recovery, but actually one of the main guys is a person that struggled. So, but this is about anxiety. So now instead of saying, oh, I'm having anxiety about this, it's, oh, I'm having excitement about this. It's excitement. Well, these guys, yes, it is. And here's the thing. These guys actually have found this Dr. John Deloney. He talks about how it is healthy. You don't want to get rid of, oh, there's a first alarm. I want to play it. All right, that's the interact alarm. Oop. Crickets. It's crickets. Okay, so feel free to interact. Anybody out there, especially with your own relationship with yourself, how do you feel that's working out? Do you feel like it's good most days? Do you feel like it took time to get there? Do you feel like you've always been confident?
Do you still need to get there?
Right. See, me, I was on the other side of the spectrum where I never really had confidence. After I hit puberty, there's confidence out the window. until I hit 40.
And you didn't have a relationship with yourself.
I didn't even know myself.
No,
I wasn't allowed to.
And you didn't have a very good relationship with yourself, and you were very codependent. And I know you've talked about that before on your podcast and elsewhere, but I mean, that's a clear sign too. And, you know, even when I was managing the sober house and I would have ladies come in, and I'm like, right away, I knew whether they were going to make it or not, because it was all based on whether they could focus on themselves or they were constantly turning to external sources to distract themselves. And I'm not saying distractions are bad. I'm saying they're good, because if you're going to distract yourself, do it with yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're going out to be distracted by other people, other things they're the source of what gets you out of your head, then that's where the problem lies. You need to be able to sit with yourself. Find a project or a hobby. Sit down, do some crocheting where you're still with yourself, but you're keeping busy. You're not feeling it gives rid of a sense of anxiety if you're, needing to pace or something. It gives your hands something to do. Whatever that is, you got to find something to channel your energy, but it's still got to be with yourself. If you're, I go out every night with, to all these nightclubs all by myself. You're not by yourself. You're with hundreds of people. Mm-hmm. That's not with yourself.
Correct. Okay. Squirrel moment.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
Pro tip number 2. Sorry.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let's get into the core of. So here's the thing you just brought up in my head. So there's CBT. Okay. Yes. Cognitive behavior therapy. The minimalist. I love this clip. It just hits so many points that I align with. So I'm curious if other people align with. Oh, I'm listening. Oh, thank you. Facebook users are interacting. So I'm excited. I hope people will interact more with this clip. I don't think you've heard this either, but no. Anxiety is your body's alarm system, okay? Now, it takes a while to get shit out of your body, so that was messing up everything anyway. But I had anxiety way before that, okay? So, and where I sit today now, my alarm system's much, much better, but I'm like, okay, it's an opportunity to be like, okay, body, why am I feeling anxiety? I've done this many times before. I've shared my story. Why right now? My hand's shaking still. So it's an alarm system, and it's now I look at it as a positive thing. So, but what they say is he's gonna. I like it. Kind of talk shit about CBT, because for me it was DBT that worked. Dialectic behavior there. I need the physical pieces of that element. Thinking was my fucking problem. I was overthinking too much. Think. Okay? Drink. Right? Endless cycle. So for me, yes, CBT is wonderful, but I think DBT is where I aligned more, because I need all those elements. I need the physical pieces.
Yep.
And mindful physical things, okay?
Yep.
Going to the gym has never been my cup of tea, right? But riding a bicycle, I think that's why that's always been meditative for me, is because it allows me to be in the present moment with the physical interaction, but I'm looking at nature, I'm looking around me, I love feeling the wind, whatever. Yes. So, okay, here's the clip, and then we're going to talk about it. I got to make sure it's up loud enough, because I did not get a chance to download it. Here we go. So the minimalists, and we're talking about anxiety can be a good thing. I know. I just roll your eyes. I agree. I don't like the feeling of it, but it is. It's your body's way of letting you know. Here we go.
But let's talk about, before we talk about Tammy's question, the cure for crippling anxiety. Where does anxiety come from?
I think we've pathologized anxiety to a large degree. So whenever I have this conversation, I want everyone to picture a bell curve, and there is way outside on the long tails of either side of this bell curve, there's true neurological issues, there's true, hormone imbalances, things like that. So putting those aside, right? Anxiety is really just an alarm system. That's all it is. And it is just letting you know most of the time you're disconnected, you're out of relationship with people in your community. You found yourself alone. And if you think back a couple of thousand years and you woke up on the plains of Nebraska or Kansas and your tribe had left you, you're probably going to die, right? You're going to get eaten by something. You're going to die of starvation. You're going to die of exposure. we are co-regulated physiologically. We are designed to be in community and relationship with other people in a room together, doing life, right? And so when our body recognizes that's not the case, it will sound the alarm, right? Or we're in a situation where we're not safe. We're in an abusive relationship. We were abused, and our body's recognizing that guy looks like or she looks like, and it is letting us know, hey, you're not safe. Or the third one is we're in a situation where we can't control the outcome. The nerd word is autonomy, right? We don't have autonomy for our next own decision. And all it is our body's just trying to get our attention. And in the last 25 years, can I back out for a second?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So if you look at all human history and progress, it's beautiful because we're trying to solve for the next best thing.
Right.
We're going to make a little bit better plow, make a horse. Let's breed that horse with that one, make a little bit stronger horse so we can do a little bit more yard work or, have a little bit, do it a little bit faster. That's all great. And then technology caught up and passed our ability to think through what we were doing. And so we began to solve for comfort rapidly. And I love leather seats. One day I'm going to get a car that's got them. It's going to be awesome. I like air conditioners. I like heaters. I like all the stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're from Houston. You have to like air conditioning.
That's right. So I like technology and progress. So don't get me wrong. The challenge is in the last 50 to 100 years, 200 years, we have become so obsessed with solving for comfort that we've pathologized discomfort. We've made discomfort the enemy. And we have some very real physiological things like sadness and frustration and boredom and anxiety. Natural things that our body does that we've said, whoa, that's uncomfortable. We need to solve for that. And so if you think about anxiety as an alarm in your kitchen, it's just a smoke detector letting you know your house is on fire. You can go see a psychiatrist and climb up in there and take the batteries out, which is what meds do. And the alarm will stop. Like, I'll shut that sucker off. The house is still burning down around you.
Right.
Or I can get a pillow and climb up on a ladder and duct tape around that sucker, which is what addiction does, right? That's what buying new things, that's what a new job title, it's what pornography, it's all the things, it's what another drink, another boyfriend, and another whatever, that's what that will do for you. It'll help numb that sound out. It will dim the sound. But man, if you're anxious, going back to the original question, if you got crippling anxiety, get with somebody and walk out to your front yard and look at your house and see what's on fire, right? And that's where you start to heal anxiety. It's like duct taping over your gas gauge on your car. Why would you do that, right? That's not the problem. It's just letting you know you need some gas in the car, right?
Yeah.
And so I've started making peace with anxiety. And so I'm an anxious guy. I'm a super anxious guy. And mine's crippling. When it comes, it's hard to walk out. And so when I feel it coming, I begin to be curious with my body. Dude, what are you trying to protect me from? And it's a totally different engagement with my body than the decade I went to war against my body trying to shut it up.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I actually do experience anxiety pretty easily. That's why I did have a drug and alcohol problem when I.
Sorry, I'm going to cut it off there. But I encourage everybody. I'll share the link. Like the whole interview with this guy is fantastic because he'll talk about how, like where it sits today, they want to medicate you. That's the quick answer. But they also want you to, overly think about things. But they're taking out the physical aspect of it. Like the one guy, he literally does. He has to exercise every day, even if it's only 30 minutes. But that is to get out of his anxiety. Now, things that stood out to me. Anything stood out to you that you want to mention right away, or do you want to let me share first?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so key things that I love. So anxiety is an alarm system. So for me, as a person that's now always had this crippling anxiety, now that I've had this time to really explore myself and understand myself and have this healthier relationship with myself, I like myself, right? I now can take anxiety and say, when is the anxiety coming in? And it's not fucking serving me anymore. Because before, it did serve me. Certain people would walk in the room. He was right. Certain people would walk in the room, and for some reason, my anxiety would kick in. Like, ooh, that's not a safe person. Now I can see a person walk in. They might look like some abuser I had in my past. But now my brain can go, oh, remember? That's not that person. They just have similarity. You don't need to calm down. Don't need to be excited about this, right? So what I have to do is now, especially now, it's way more rare. Well, there's our alarm because we're going to be doing the pro tips here soon. Is way less that I feel anxiety. A lot of times it is because I don't know the tribe that I'm walking into or whatever. But now it's almost, for me, it's a positive thing. When I start to feel anxiety to the point where I am, it's normal to feel minimal anxiety, whatever situation. But where it's my hands are shaking again, my voice, you can hear it in my voice. I can hear it in my voice. When I know I'm having that extreme, it's going to that point, I can pause and say, ooh, this is an opportunity for further healing. For me now, it's like, ooh, this is a challenge to grow to where I'm at. I'm weirdo, I guess, but I'm like, this is something I can overcome, okay? Because I've really gotten it builds confidence for me. It makes me feel empowered, because those moments when I've had such crippling anxiety, I did it. It was not perfect, because I'm a retired perfectionist, but I did it. I could just have pride in the fact that I did it, whether it was, good or bad or whatever you want to, in my mind. Now there is no good or bad, but I accomplished it. That's the point. Fail early, fail often, but I fail forward. I did it, whatever capacity I did it. So because I have so much less anxiety now, when I feel that anxiety, I'm like, okay, this is something that I know I need some healing from, and it's something that probably a new experience or new people or whatever, and I am excited about it. So, and then the other piece was, I love how, it's we're wanting that peace of mind, right? That peace of mind, that calmness. But I flipped it, because somebody else, and this might be next week, I'll share this clip. He said, no, actually, you don't want peace of mind. You want peace from mind.
Yes.
From, I was like, ding, 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 that's it. I don't want peace of mind. I just want peace from my mind. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so I didn't actually jive with this concept of his. I can understand it, and I think it's great. I think for those who are capable to be self-aware and have the capacity to recognize what's going on and grow from it, that's great. But I'm a person that I have to take medicine to literally chemically shut my brain down, because I have such bad anxiety that my body, I literally feel like that expression, I want to crawl out of my skin. My entire body is shaking internally. I can feel every single micro whateverisms, and I physically want to crawl out of my body, and I don't know how to describe that, and I could not do that. Even I will be just fine. And even as a person who takes anxiety meds, I still get anxiety to the point where sometimes I'll just be laying in bed and I'll get like a minor panic attack, and I'll get those feelings like I need to, like I'm crawling out of my skin. I hate this. And I'll do the self-reflection, and I'm like, okay, what is going on? Where is this coming from? But in those moments, it doesn't help. I also have a heart condition that gets exacerbated by the anxiety. It's the chicken and the egg thing. My anxiety kicks in, my heart starts beating weird, and then I'm like, I get super hyper aware of it, and I'm thinking, oh God, now I have to worry about this. So now we're picking up the anxiety pieces. And it feeds, and it keeps going, and it doesn't stop until something changes. And that's why I love DBT. So one of their skills is their TIP skills, TIPP. And the concept of it is to change your body chemistry. So like your concept where he was saying he has to go out and physically get that out, that he's changing his body chemistry is what he's doing. Because that's even one of them. It is intense exercise. That is I in TIP. So the other ones are T, which is temperature. So, when I took this class, they would talk about, go into a room, like a bathroom or something, and flush your face with cold water. Get that extreme change. Hop in a shower, turn it on cold. Whatever you have to do, change your body temperature. It'll change the chemistry of your body. The other two, the last two, the P's, are paced breathing, which I think a lot of people, that's a common thing. It's, focus on your breath, do meditation, all these other things. But it does. When your heart is racing, you're breathing heavier. Or, when your anxiety is peaked, okay, realize that. Take that moment and, okay, can I slow it down to a count of 2? Can I slow it down to a count of 3, to a 4? Whatever it is that you have to do to get it to slow down, you again, changing that body chemistry. And even the last one, pairing with muscle relaxation. This is something that I specifically have to do. For my first time trying to get into meditation, I couldn't shut my brain or body down real well. But when I paired the two, and I did a guided meditation where it was like, okay, let's begin at your feet. You know, tune in to where your toes are. Relax the muscles. So I'm physically like, oh, okay, wait, oh, yep, all right, relax. Moving up, legs. Okay, oh, my hands are clenched. Let it go. Okay, like and then all of a sudden, before I know it, I'm calm. I'm relaxed, and I'm not focusing about what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's much more than just what he was talking about. And so, yes, I'm, you know me, I always have to pick stuff apart.
Well, and it's a 45-minute conversation. So you caught 2 minutes of it. But yes, and again, now I can look at the positive in what he said. Before 17 years, I was not seeing none of that, because I was all in the negative town, first of all, and everything I seemed to try didn't work. And so even DBT, I had to do it extended. I had to extend it 6 months, because that first 6 months I was so not. I wanted immediate results. You know,
Yes.
You said this was gonna work. This ain't fucking working. Now it's making it worse. And luckily, in where I went to DBT, my therapist was 24/7. So I rarely did that. I did call a few times when I could not stop my crippling anxiety, and it was going into overload and panic attack mode and all that. And I needed medication for a long time. First of all, they had me on the wrong med for medications, you know, because it's a trial and error process. So it's taken a whole, patience is a virtue. But again, when you're in the depths of the dark place, it's hard to sit around and wait, especially where I took it. So yes, I encourage everyone to listen to that full thing, because this guy, he knows exactly what he's talking about. And well, let's go into the pro tips. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm going to share a couple of what he actually goes into in that video. But also, again, I'm trying to keep it simple. So I'm keeping it simple. And I always just like to reflect back in my mind where I've been at, where it came, you know, like people want to just, to make these suggestions, especially all these experts and whatever.
Yep.
Most of them, I think, have never been a person with a substance use disorder. So that's real fucking easy for you to suggest, and it worked for you. But try hating yourself for all of your life, okay? And then you want me to have gratitude? Ugh! Okay, anyway. Okay, so here we go. Well, I'll go with my first pro tip, then we'll do yours again, get into the depths of that, and then I'll share the last pro tip. There's 3 of them, and then, because no hot seat, and then we'll just wrap it up with the memes, and then we'll be out of here on the dot, hopefully right on time. Okay. So I have to do the sound effect, Sarah. Oh, it's really low. Let's turn that up. Okay, here we go. So pro tip number 1, that sounds vague at first, but it's paper to present, okay? So what I mean by paper to present means everyone's brain functions differently when you write with a writing utensil and paper, people, not texting, okay? Not emailing, not typing, not audio, talk to text. That's just what I was thinking. Like, take a pen or a pencil and write it out. I don't care if it's a sentence or 2. Your brain functions differently, and it 100% forces you in the present moment. You can't write stuff out and be, you have to focus on what you're writing if you want it to be legible anyway. But on that note, for me, when I was in the darkest place, okay, no confidence, that's why I had a hard time getting aligned and finding any kind of connection with the 12 steps. Okay, first of all, they're throwing you right into a relationship with yourself. I wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
And B, the perception that it's perceived a lot, I think the way I took it, and again, I statements was, well, this is all because of your ego, your resentments, you come in here full of pride. Well, this is a book written in 1938, right? By 100 men for men, okay? Well, I was the opposite. When I came in, I had no ego, okay? I felt less than worthy than anybody I ever met in my life. I walk into a room, I was beneath you. I felt like I didn't even deserve, I wasn't worthy of speaking or sharing. Nobody wanted to hear my story or hear what I have to say. So don't talk to me about I'm too, too much pride. It was the opposite for me for like years. So I couldn't connect with that. So a lot of the steps, and that was the tone. So it was for me finding those people that I could connect with, women. They just ended up being mostly women. And, them actually taking the time to listen to my story and then allowing me to feel validated. And then I could sit down and take a personal inventory and look at myself. But I didn't even want anyone to look at me because I couldn't even look at myself.
Yep.
So for me to really get used to looking at how I feel about things, what my opinion matters. Okay, you want my opinion? And then it wasn't instant for me, right? I could have all the feelings, but I couldn't explain why. And no one at that point, had ever, I spent years in relationships with people that didn't want to hear my opinion, didn't care about my opinion. My opinion was a piece of shit, So nobody wants you. So I remember I would take, I have several now, but it would take a daily reading, whether it was a meditation book, whether it was, people prayers, whether it's, right now I got an affirmation book, but finding a daily reading and really thinking about my thoughts, picking apart words, sentences, especially if I didn't like the, daily meditation reading or whatever. If I didn't like it, well, why don't I like it? What stands out? And I think the key is writing it out and then sharing it, having a conversation with someone, That's one thing I do when I work with people. Because first of all, then it helps understand, but also getting that outside of my head, other person's voice in it. So like today, I wanted to share, I've been reading, I like to move on too, I get complacent. Sometimes I have 3 books going at the same time. But the nice thing is it's only one day. It's only a one-day reading. So that's something no matter what. If I don't do anything for recovery, I was able to do that. So if I didn't get to a meeting, so if I didn't call my sponsor, so if I didn't I had to go to treatment many times, but let's just say it was weekends, okay? I could at least read from one of my daily readings. So today, I'm reading from Affirmations for the Inner Child. That's where I'm at right now. So June 25th, it's on, and each one starts with a centered. It says, I am centered in stability and contentment. Today, I will take my growth toward health another step forward. I will tend to my emotional needs instead of focusing on the needs of others. As a child, I was taught that my emotional needs didn't matter. I grew up without a clear sense of what made me happy or unhappy. And in recovery, I have learned to protect myself from the negative emotions of others. No longer am I receptacle for others' unhappiness. Now I must also learn to tend and cultivate my own inner emotional life. See, like this one hit me hard. Because all of these things make sense. I didn't know what made me happy or unhappy, okay? I didn't know how to cultivate my own inner emotional life. Like, I didn't know. For me, I was taught that emotions are weakness.
Yep.
You're not allowed to have emotions. You'll get punished. So it ends with today, regardless of the people or the circumstances around me, I will keep guard over the delicate inner design of my emotions. When threatened by attacks from without or critical voices from within, I will notice them, okay, and restore them to peace with positive affirmations. I will create a center within me today of emotional stability. So, see, it just, like, literally, I could spend another hour picking this apart of what I like, what I resonate with, whatever. So how about you, Sarah? Paper to present, like, what does that say to you? And then do you have affirmations or daily readings, or, like, what in the very beginning do you think allowed, I know you already mentioned some things, but allowed you to really start to have this relationship with yourself, like a better understanding of yourself?
That's a good question. I don't know where I'm going to really start from with that. So I think for me, I too can relate to having the zero sense of worth. So, nope, another alarm.
Ooh, it's 15 minutes.
Okay. So, like you said, with the childhood, be seen, not heard. So that was my all childhood growing up, and then I hit adulthood, and I got myself into a job where I spent 10 years being told almost daily, I don't get an opinion. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny to me because I've heard this for a long time, like, oh, you're so confident and you carry yourself like, in such a manner, like you're there's no way you're insecure or you don't. I have absolutely no self-worth, and I don't hold value to myself because even though I wanted to fight against these people who told, like, I'm rebellious in nature. Obviously, I'm an alcoholic. So I wanted to fight against these people who kept telling me, oh, you don't get an opinion. You don't get an opinion. So I'm like, well, fine, whatever. But you know what it does to you internally? Mm-hmm. It destroys you little by little to the point where you have nothing left. Mm-hmm. And you still act the same. You present a front that you're confident, you got something, you're going to give something to somebody, but really you're insecure about it. You're doubting yourself. You don't think what you're going to say or put out there is worthy of anybody to listen to. And so that was a hard thing for me. It was transitioning from having zero self-worth to having any kind of purpose. And then from there, it just kind of grew. I would find little bits and pieces. My daughter, thank God, is my one thing in this life that has kept me here, because honestly, I have relationships, but in my head, I'm not good enough for them. And I still struggle with, I don't know. It's something that I personally struggle with. So I started with my daughter. That was my thing. Okay, I can be here for my daughter. Okay, from there, my dad stepped in and became my rock. So now I have two people in my life. And these people started to kind of show up in different ways and give me a sense of purpose, a little bit of value to myself, and feed me things that I had nothing left of. From there, I then started getting more courage to explore things like, okay, maybe I do have something here. I would reach out. I'm very spiritual now. You know this. I love connecting with nature and all these different things. I'm still, God, not religious, but but I take the time to look internally and get to know myself a little bit more every day. And slowly, that's where my relationship with myself changed, because it went from having other people feed me these things to get me going or start, like, have something to build on. I finally have my own foundation to which I can use. And we had this conversation earlier about affirmations. Those ones that are like, I am worthy. Mm-hmm. I am enough. I am loved. I didn't believe it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, bullshit right away in my head. I'm like, bullshit. But you know what? I'm a research nerd. I was reading. And of course, you keep telling yourself something and it will happen. Why do you think I thought I was such a piece of shit for so long? Because I was told I was a piece of shit for 30-something fucking years. And I was told I didn't have an opinion. And it got to me to where I truly believed it. So why can't I tell myself that I am worthy, I am enough, and I am loved for the next 30 years till I actually do truly believe it?
Yes! 100%. And I think, yes, that conversation we had, I said, everyone would be like, oh, I have an affirmation. Well, I finally had surrendered. And I wanted to be honest with myself, and now you want me to lie to myself? Because I don't believe any of these things, right? So I had to find one that maybe didn't make sense to other people, but I believed it, and it made sense to me. The I am enough, fuck that. I didn't believe that at all. But how I kind of flipped it, or at least made it align, was I'm doing the best I can, and that's good enough. Not I'm good enough, that's good enough, and that I knew was my truth. Yeah. And then I like what we were talking about earlier is you said adding on to that or tagging on to that an affirmation that I really did want to believe, that I really want to believe this. And so, whatever, you can just add 20 on to those, but there was many of them that, yeah, they sound great, but in my heart right now, that's further from where for me, it was looking in the mirror and lying to myself. So, but I like the idea of, finding one that's saying, well, it worked. You're right. It worked. Saying, I love you. It was weird. I was okay. The therapist was like, say these things. I can't remember. There was like 3 things that I just remember being one, looking at the mirror, like, it felt weird. Like, I love you. I love you, But because she knew I hated myself, right? But really, it worked without even me realizing it, Just waking up and I'm like doing the best I can and I love you. And it's like, it immediately started to realize I love myself because I am doing the best I can. And I am worthy of love. And even if I have my moments still where I don't feel like I'm worthy of any of somebody's time or my kids' time or, a job or whatever, I'm going to do the best I can. And that's, obviously, that's worthy enough. And I guess it's redefining what worth is. And for me, the real thing that clicked was take my daughter, put her in my seat right now. The things I say to myself, would I allow her to say that to herself? So Sarah, you say to yourself that, if you were saying, I don't feel like I'm worthy. What if your little girl Lily was like, Mom, I don't feel like I'm worthy. I'm not worthy of your love. Would that break your heart?
Yes.
Okay. So you can't expect her to believe you if you're telling her, no, honey, you are worthy. If you aren't aligning with that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, again, but that's taken me so long. And even when I say I love myself, okay, let's be real. I don't love myself all the time.
Well, no, that.
Okay, that was a long pro tip. We're going to jump into yours
sorry.
quick, and then we'll wrap it up and get into the beeps.
Well, that's good because I already, like I said, mentioned this earlier, the distraction piece. So my pro tip is definitely the distraction thing, and not in a sense of, like I mentioned earlier, going out to a club every night by yourself because that's with you. No, you're with other people. You're still getting outside and not really sitting with yourself. You can play video games and watch TV, binging TVs. I don't mind that. I get sucked into video games sometimes too, but those pull away from the fact that you're not even sitting with yourself. You're so focused outside of yourself during those moments. Right. You need to find activities, hobbies, things that you can almost basically meditate and physically do something. So you're kind of interchanging a few things, but it helps. For me, it helps ground me. So that I can sit with myself and my thoughts and then, kind of process them and, not jump to conclusions or be like, start beating myself up about something. Like I'll be so busy with crocheting a blanket.
I was just going to say, I remember you crocheting.
Yes. And I'll be kind of thinking about something and I'd be bothered by it. And then after, so long, all of a sudden I'd kind of have a breakthrough or I'd be able to just kind of let it go. Whatever it is, it just allowed me to sit with myself. And that's why those pairings of distractions that are focused with yourself, perfect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez. Beautiful. So yes, like finding a hobby or activity that you really are just sitting with yourself. And again, I always incorporate music.
Yes.
Okay? Because especially when I couldn't sit with myself, I did not like it. If you put on something that you like, whether it's hard metal, you just want to kill everybody. Just kidding. No, but burn everything down. Yes, I was thinking of that post. But music helps me kind of like do that because my brain is kind of all over the place. But yeah, to sit down and crochet or paint and here's the other, I would add into that pro tip, try something else. You don't like that hobby? Try a different one. You didn't like hiking? Try a different one. You didn't like woodworking? Try a different one.
Yes.
So, but just intentionally making that effort. Okay, last pro tip I had, luckily, it's just a quick website to go to. It's a list, and then you can go there yourself, and that way you'll be able to. But it's 5 steps that you can take to improve your mental health and well-being. And so number 1 is connect with other people. I would say healthy people that have similar mindsets. Number 2, be physically active. And again, does not mean exercise, okay? I hate exercise. But there's physical activity that I enjoy without even realizing that I'm exercising.
Yes.
Or whatever. So whatever physical activity is you find somewhat standable. Again, I'm putting myself back where I was because it's easier said than done. Yes, cleaning. For me, that's a meditative thing.
It is. Me too.
Yes, it's physically active, but for me, it's like, it's comforting. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's about, for me, it's control. Like, I'm controlling my space.
And you're with yourself.
Making it safe. Yep. And I easily know how to organize anything. Okay. Number 3, learn new skills again. And I did go into depth with this a little bit more because this is what worked for me. Learning new skills, not job skills, okay? Not necessarily job skills or whatever. Still, like I half joke that knowledge is my new addiction. But research shows that learning new skills can also improve your mental well-being by boosting your self-confidence and raising your self-esteem, helping you to build a sense of purpose, helping you to connect with others, even if you feel like you do not have enough time, or you may not need to learn new things. There are lots of different ways to bring learning into your life.
Yes.
I love that. Number 4, give to others, service, okay? And again, I feel like it's important to do service that you connect with and feel comfortable to do.
Yes, and aligns with your values.
That aligns with your values. Ding. And number 5, pay attention to the present moment. In parentheses, mindfulness.
Yes. Okay.
That's a whole other show. Okay, so that's a wrap, right? We got them all through. Let's do the beeves, and then we can get out of here.
Okay.
On time. Okay. So, before, I'll just check. Oh, it's still crickets. Okay, so I'm going to take off the banners. We're going to go into the memes. Let's just hide that. And, yes. Hold on. I want to play the sound effects. You're going to think you'll recognize the first one. Again, I will post all the links. We had such a time crunch this weekend, but those things that I shared, I'll share on the Facebook and the YouTube, so you'll be able to further go into those. But, I don't even have this set up. But really, Sarah, I'm at this point in my life that I've realized through our boundaries that the book we've been reading is I'm really great at setting boundaries for other people and keeping those boundaries for other people. I've had a hard time setting boundaries for myself, to keep for myself. Like, I didn't realize how much I conflict with that. But what's recently changed is with the values thing and looking at it, instead of saying boundaries, these are promises to myself.
Yeah.
I need to keep these promises to myself, not break them. Okay? Yes. And I realized how much I was doing that. So I've literally taken a big connection pause away from my phone, from other things that I'm just drawn to just really start to value the relationship with myself. Okay, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go into this app. I hate this app. Okay, keep me accountable, Sarah, next week. See how this goes? Next week, without having to pay for anything, I want to get these 2 sounds without ads.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I know there's a way. There's a will, there's a way.
Yes, of course.
Okay, beam time, here we go. You're going to recognize the first one.
Oh, yep, okay. I love this one. It's a picture of a dog in a work shirt and hard hat. It says, I specialize in roofing.
Roofing. Roof.
I know.
She was great today.
Yes. All right, so this is like a time era type thing of like 2, I don't know, what would you say, that medieval people standing there, and it says, me falling out of a tree as a kid, and the other person, 'tis but a scratch. And then me, after sleeping in a weird position as an adult, my body is broken.
So at the top, the 2 are like maybe combating, and in the bottom, it's a person laying in the bed. Yes. And I would say it in my head, I said it like this: my body is broken. It's true.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Just watch my 7-year-old. Okay, skip the long one. This one's nice.
Okay, kindness, noun. Loaning someone your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness. That's beautiful. I love that.
Shout out to Pam. Thrive. Okay. Funny one.
Okay.
So funny.
Okay. So, comic strip. They look like beekeepers?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, excuse me. I ordered a dozen bees if you gave... But you gave me 13. That's a freebie. And then the response, she's a keeper. Keeper. That's cute.
It was just stacked. It was too cute. Okay. All right. Only 3 more. Just words. I love this one.
Believe in yourself. If cauliflower can become pizza, you can do anything. How accurate.
Very much.
Still not the best pizza, but
Now,
sorry.
this one
Okay.
I hope you know. Here we go. You know I love SpongeBob. Okay.
Okay, SpongeBob floating in air with earbuds. What's the first word? Oh, me after discovering a new song and it awakes a new flame in me and lights up my soul and I listen to it for literally 2 hours straight. Yes.
They call those like mantra songs now because for me, especially when I'm trying to manifest some really positive stuff,
Okay, wait, can I just like...
and I find that song.
Yes.
Yes. Go
Can I
ahead.
play it?
The one I was talking. You have one?
Can I just like... Can we play a song real quick on here? Is that okay?
Like a little clip of it.
Yes.
I know the copyright block me.
Nope. It's...
Yes.
Don't wanna go. Said I was gonna go to brunch and hit the farmer's market, but that was weeks ago. Now I don't wanna go. Do what you say you're gonna do. I promise you won't regret it. If you stay in, you might wish you would have gone. Your comfort zone is cozy. Believe me, I know. But if you count your feelings off and you wouldn't feel at home, so do what you see. You gotta do. Do what you see. Just follow through.
Do what you say, just follow through. I love that.
Okay, we'll pause.
Explain it.
It's just this... I don't even know how I came across this.
It's
but
so true.
yes, it's just this dude who's like turned into this heavy metal artist and he basically really it's just, okay, I made these plans weeks ago and now it's the day of and he's doing the typical, yep, like, now I don't want to go and I don't want to do this. And then he's like, do what you say you're going to do because you'll feel better anyways. So we got to post it on here. Yes.
We will. I mean, everything about that is so accurate, especially with summer and now at plans. I've committed to things, and then in the moment, I'm all for it. And literally the night before, I'm like, why did I commit to this? I don't want to do this. And then as soon as I get there, I'm like, oh, that's why. Yes, I do like these things. But I just get so hermity.
Yes.
But he's hilarious. He's this heavy metal guy. I don't even know if that's anything accurate to his real life. Like, that's the funny part. Because he really pulls off the heavy metal thing.
Yes.
But in the video, he's showing himself like, he's going to brunch.
Yes.
Pleasant brunch. Because he promised. It's wonderful. But yes, okay. So on this beam, like recently, and mantra songs could be older songs. A lot of people, when I'm like, oh, do you have a mantra song? There's a song from like 10 years ago that they're like, oh, it's my favorite song. I'm like, no. If you try to manifest something presently today that you want to change, it should be a more current song. However, it can be a song that's newer that maybe, it's not necessarily your favorite song. Okay, there's a reason I'm saying this weird shit.
Okay.
It's because recently I've been going to the library, my broke ass, but it's fun because I do have a CD player. Okay, so you can still check out CDs. Okay, so it keeps me from trying to buy them. So it was really fun to see. I grabbed some new stuff, and then I grabbed Michael Jackson's like greatest hits, whatever. And anyway, I forgot how much I loved Moonwalker, that whole little movie he did, and I forgot that he did the cover song to the Beatles, "Come Together."
Yes.
It is this. Oh my God, Sarah! I've been playing it over and over when I want to feel like this is just a badass and fuck everybody. Like I don't care what anybody thinks. Like I'm a badass, and when I have no AC, so I'm roasting my ass off. The windows are down anyway. I'm blaring this song, but I'll just keep. None of the other songs are just cool. So I just keep replaying it. Nobody knows I'm replaying it. Only me. So, but that'll happen, and that's just random. Like any song, they'll wait, and when it just hits you right in that moment of my life, I will replay that shit over and over and over.
No, that's really funny because I actually do the same thing.
Do you?
Yes. If there is something that is just right there, it's hitting whatever it is, and I will just hit repeat until like to somewhere. It's usually in the car, you know?
Yes. Oh, if I try to do it at my house, the kids will kill me. But I do in my earbuds. They know that. Okay, last meme.
All right, last meme. Oh, okay.
Charlie Brown and Snoopy.
Yes, Charlie Brown and Snoopy are sitting on the end of a dock staring up at the moon. And Charlie Brown says, "We only live once, Snoopy." And he says, "No, we only die once. We live every day." Yes.
Love it.
And that is such a good reminder to
I don't even know how that never sunk in
No.
the way it did when I first saw this. Like,
Yes.
we die once.
Yes.
Yeah, but we get a chance to live life every day.
Yep. It's
So-
a good check in the morning, like especially in the mornings, just to have that reminder, like, oh, I get to live today.
Yes, after I take my inhaler, you can start breathing. Because seriously, with the not breathing thing and the bad air quality, I wake up like fearful I'm not going to be able to breathe again, or in the middle of the night. But then as soon as I start breathing again, I'm like, okay, I get to breathe another day. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. And definitely check next week. And I still got to get step 6. That's coming soon. But everybody have a great week. Thank you for joining us. What time is it? 9:06. That's not so bad. You're doing great.
Thank you, Bridge. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you again for just being here and present. I just, seriously, these are like my favorite to come to.
Good. I'm glad.
Okay, and returning home.